Hi everybody, today we're working on a 2005 Mini Cooper S convertible. This car has a bad starter motor. So we've got a remanufactured starter motor here. I'll put a link in the description where you can buy one of these. According to the Bentley manual, to remove the starter we need to take off the exhaust manifold. But I think there's a good chance we'll be able to wiggle it out of there even without taking off the exhaust manifold. We're going to work both under the car and on top of the car. We'll need to remove this heat shield. We'll need to move these reservoir tanks out of the way. Bend this piece up here a little bit. And there's another heat shield on the bottom of the exhaust manifold, shielding the starter motor from the heat of the exhaust manifold itself. And we'll attack that from underneath. So the first thing I'll do is get the car up on jack stands. And before starting to work on your starter motor, be sure to disconnect your negative battery cable if you don't want sparks to fly. And don't close the boot lid because it's electrically actuated. Alright, let's take a look underneath. First we'll get this power steering fan out of the way. So now we can see the motor up here. It's hidden behind the power steering pump, so there's no way we can pull it from underneath unless we take an axle out. So there's one bolt on the bottom right here, and there's another one on the top that you pretty much can't see, but it's almost directly on top there. And then of course there's 3 wires going to it as well. And here's part of the lower heat shield that we're going to have to remove. And that's held by there's a small 10 millimeter bolt which is attached to the top of the oil filter housing, which should allow us to pull this heat shield back and out of the way. So I'll go back and work on the top for now. For the reservoir, there's 2 more 10 millimeter bolts on the bottom side of it, in the back corner here. And we shouldn't need to take these reservoirs completely out. We just need to push them up and out of the way a little bit so we can get better access to the starter motor. Alright, we'll just get this stuff up and out of the way like that. Alright, next I'll remove this heat shield, which is held on by a couple of 13 millimeter bolts. Just kind of push this back out of the way. For this heat shield down here, there's one 10 millimeter bolt right here. And that will allow us to pull the heat shield back and out. Alright, so we'll just use a really long extension to get down there. Okay, that lets us pull the heat shield kind of back and out. There we go. That's probably back almost far enough. Okay, I'm just going to keep pushing to see if I can get the shield completely off of this starter motor or not. Alright, took a little flexing, but I think it's back off enough that we can get in there and do the work we need to do. There we go. So I've pushed the heat shield back. I had to bend it just a little bit, but it's very soft. It'll be easy to bend back. I think I'll get in here and remove the cable wiring. We need to remove this one here. Don't know if you can see that. The one on the 13 millimeter on the back side. And on the top here there's a 10 millimeter. We'll need to remove that as well. Alright, we'll pull these lines off. So that's all the electrical. Alright, next we'll see about removing the starter motor bolts. Those are 15 millimeter. And the axle's kind of in the way here. I think what I'll try to do is maybe put some extensions on this to get us to a place where we can get a socket wrench on there more easily. Alright, this should work. I've got it so the socket is coming out here right under the CV joint. And there's a socket extension running all along here and onto the starter motor right here. So I should be able to get a breaker bar on that and cause that to pop. There it goes. Alright, we got the bottom one loosened up. There's the bottom 15mm bolt. Okay, the top bolt is set back a little bit. It's right here. We might be able to run the socket wrench just right through the gap here. Let's see. Camera's pointing the wrong way. Okay, we're working on the last bolt here. It's not much clearance, but eventually it'll come out. I've tried various different lengths of socket extensions, and looks like just a 15mm ratcheting gear wrench. So the idea is we're going to pull the starter motor up and out, basically where my hand is. There should be enough room there, just barely enough room to get it out without taking off the exhaust manifold. Your mileage may vary if you have an aftermarket header. Alright, I'm getting the last bolt out here. Okay, it looks like there's a zip-tied wire bundle going to the oil pressure sender and some of the power steering wires, it looks like, so I'll go underneath and nip that. Okay, that's off, so should be able to get the starter motor out now. Alright, now we can try to wiggle it out the top here. Kind of twist and rotate as we go. And we got it. So there's proof that you do not need to take the exhaust manifold off to get the starter motor out of a Mini. Alright, let's see if we can wiggle this one back into the spot. Well, it went in a lot easier. I've already got it almost in its place. Typically I've found that it's easier to put a car together than it is to take it apart. I don't know why, but the assembly time is quicker than the disassembly time a lot of the time. Okay, let's see if we can wiggle this back in. Well, we were struggling to put this starter motor in, and it wouldn't go past the flywheel. So I took a look, and these pinion gears look not quite the same size. So I'm measuring across the tooth here, and we've got a totally different size gear on here. So this is not the correct starter motor. So I'll pause the video for now, and I'll go and see if I can return this one and figure out which motor will be the right one to put in the car. And we'll pick up the video from there. Alright, hi everybody. We stopped for a little while there. We were trying to put the new starter in, and it turns out it doesn't fit. So the model we had was a 17855, and the gear here, what is this, a pinion gear, it was actually slightly too large, and it would not allow us to insert the nose here past the flywheel. So we got a different one here. It's a 17854. If you go on Amazon, their system shows that both of them are compatible with the Mini Cooper. Looks like the 17855 is not. So don't buy that one. Buy this one instead. So we'll go ahead and resume our work and shove this thing down here and try to get it installed. Kind of force it in. Yeah, that one goes right in. Well, there's not a lot of clearance here, but this is still, I think, easier than taking the exhaust off. These bolts that attach to the cylinder head are just not a lot of fun to do. We'll put together a super long ratchet extension again for the bottom bolt. So the bolt's up here, and I've got a super long set of ratchet extensions, where I'm actually tightening it way over here by the brake, by the wheel. So you need that long. What is that, a couple of 12 inches and a 14 inch, something like that. Now we'll put the electrical wires back on. If we didn't disconnect the battery, there would be sparks flying right now. Zzz, zzz, zzz. And we'll deal with this heat shield. We did have to deform it a little bit to get it enough out of the way, so we're going to have to bend it back a little bit. There's two little rubber grommets that have to align just right. There we go, perfect. Okay, we got it lined up. We'll put the little 10mm bolt back in. All right. Now we'll get these reservoirs back where they belong. Then we'll put the second heat shield back in place. And we'll hook the battery back up. And come in here and give it a test start and see what happens. Alright, all done. So that's all there is to it. That's how you replace a starter motor on a 2002 to 2006 Cooper without removing the exhaust. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.